Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. I am one half of your host, Sele,
And I'm the other half, Marcello.
and we would just like to welcome you on this nice day to Low High Podcast.
This is our first episode of the brand new year 2021. So hopefully, God willing, it's at least 10% better than 2020. But today is an even specialer episode because we have our second guest ever, and we have Nautics, who are a really cool band. And welcome, Nautics, Levitt, Van, Amir, and Kenzo. Welcome to the Low High Podcast.
Welcome. Did you say specialer?
Specialer. It is a specialer.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us on this specialer occasion.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So you guys are musicians. You make some music sometimes, and that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Sometimes we do make music sometimes, and we enjoy making music sometimes, and especially we enjoy making music together.
That's
sometimes.
beautiful. So you guys, I've seen you play only once. Unfortunately, back at Maris, you guys did that little basement concert, which is super awesome. And I know you guys did a couple shows after that. Obviously, pandemic, so virtual events, I'm sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I have my question for you is why, my opening question for you, and obviously no pressure, is like, why music? Obviously you guys are musically inclined in some way, because it sounds good, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess, can I start? Or?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So I think ultimately, a lot of the music stuff was initially through Levitt, Van, and Amir, who did a program through this place called Replay Music Studio.
Right.
And then I was friends with Van through high school, and I ended up I had like some musical like theater inclination, or I did that kind of stuff, but I saw my friend play at Webster Hall in like 2014 or something like that, and I was absolutely just like blown away because it was this kid who was like this nerdy shy kid who like didn't like, you would not expect him to be rocking out on stage, and I just saw that, and I saw the power that it was.
Okay.
And immediately I was hooked, and I think I messaged Van, or I talked to Van at school the next day or soon after, and was like, hey, I know you do that band thing, can I be a part of it? And then and then everything else happened, but I don't know if you guys want to add to that initial thing.
Yeah.
I can say personally, my interest in music started when my parents made me take piano lessons at a young age. I did not have very much say in it.
Okay.
I've tried doing some visual art. I'm also just not very good at it. So it's really just the most convenient thing to be doing artistically.
So you're a musician out of convenience.
Exactly.
You really just woke up and you're like, it is what it is. Started playing music.
So who plays what? I'm sorry to cut you off, man.
No worries. I play the keys.
Okay.
Are we all going through what we play?
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
curious.
curious.
It's like the Power Rangers.
All right. So I'm the drummer of Nautics, Levitt. Yeah.
And then Van.
I play the bass personally.
Excellent. And then Kenzo is on guitar and vocals, if I remember.
Yeah. Yes.
Right on. Do you guys ever switch instruments, or are you guys pretty much stuck to not stuck to, but do you specialize in your own instrument?
I would say live we mainly stick to the instrument that we just stated. But I know that like Amir and Van and even Levitt play guitar on tracks sometimes, or there might be a live show where Amir has to switch between guitar and keys. Because certain songs fall for that, but typically we kind of stay with our thing. But I mean, we all kind of trade places during studio time. That makes
Gotcha.
sense.
And so one thing for Sally and I, we love music, dude. We listen to like it's always going, 24 hours of the day. There's some sort of some rhythm is going somewhere.
100%.
100%. It's crazy. And so like I think music is super cool. Like Sally and I have talked about this. Music is one of those weird things because like even if you can't understand it, you kind of can because there's like this rhythm and it's a global thing. It's like it's very connecting and it seems to just be everyone loves to dance or listen to something musical. So like I don't know, I think that's awesome and I'm sure that goes with your music as well. Do you have any views on like music as a greater being, quote unquote? To get all existential.
Have you guys seen that episode of Regular Show where that like wait, have you guys seen Regular
Yeah,
Show?
yeah.
Yes.
So you know that episode where the living cassette just comes to the park and starts following everybody around and playing that same song and
Yes, I do know that episode.
they're like you can't touch music, but music can touch you. What do you guys think about that?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's great.
I think baked into the structure of music, I think as you said, it's just like universal. Everybody can understand it. Like the tension in the chords and the movement. Like even if you just look at, any song, I mean, the chord progression, you move from like a resolution and harmony to tension and then resolution and tension. And that's kind of what like, I know, not to get full, but that's what life is, And so I think that structure of life can be baked into the music itself. And that's part of the reason we, I think, have a deep connection to it.
That's really awesome because I was about to ask, like, do you think that's why? Because, dude, music, it just hits so differently, like more than anything else. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy because it's kind of baked into our consciousness. Like, kids can predict the next note of a pentatonic scale really easily, which without even teaching them, you can start singing scales to them and they'll innately figure out where the next step is, which like other animals can't do. There's TED Talks on it, I'm sure, but like, and it's crazy that like we are so like music is a human expression and it's not something that like you can find in other animals in the same way as you can find it in humans.
To jump off
really
of
amazing.
Oh, sorry.
No, keep going.
I was gonna say to jump off like that point of expression. I think ultimately from the performative standpoint, I think it's such like a vulnerability and a honesty that obviously I think is the goal, the honesty part of it, and I think there are very few art forms and sonic. The kind of sonic ability to just scream or resonate with an audience and kind of just speak your truth or just kind of throw up your emotions, for lack of a better term, to a crowd of people listening, is this kind of beautiful, unworldly experience, and I think most people don't get to have that opportunity, and I think everyone should. And I know people have stage fright, but I used to be so anxious all the time, and I think allowing myself to kind of just feel honest with a crowd and just be myself in the moment almost allowed me to gain confidence in myself just when I'm walking down the street or talking to people in a conversation. So I think it is definitely a thing for the listener, but as a person who does sing on stage and as us as a band, I think it's a really cool moment where you feel in control of yourself and your body and your spirit.
Do you ever feel like, I think you said before like how it's a very personal thing and like that honesty, I think I would say that's kind of like art in general almost, right? It's like super personal and it can be scary sometimes. Like, have you guys ever been like terrified to put a song out? Or is there a song that you're not there yet to put out because it's like too much, do you feel?
Every goddamn time.
All of our songs.
Yeah, all of our songs are an argument to when it gets released, basically. Wow. I would say that out of all of our songs, I don't know how many we have, like 20 or 30 or something, 20 something. There's probably at least 50 that like never made the light of day because they weren't like a good enough idea, or we weren't feeling it. So.
Or it didn't fit the time.
Yeah,
it could
or
come
like
back later.
Yeah,
we have
maybe.
an idea bucket, I would say.
Yeah, we definitely have an idea, and we take parts from things, and like Levin said, we kind of pick from that bucket and we Frankenstein stuff together sometimes. But yeah, I mean, we don't put something out unless we are feeling it. I don't think.
I listened to your song "Post Madonna." It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Was that one of the creative process behind that song? Was that what you call was that an argument as well, or did you guys just decide, nah, this is it?
I don't remember.
It's kind of weird.
Some arguing.
It's just, yeah, we're always arguing. But I don't know. Van was.
I don't know. That one was pretty seamless. I think me and Kenzo came up with the start of it, and we were just like, "Oh, let's make kind of a pop song." And then there's like a demo on my computer somewhere that we jammed along to, and then I sent it over to Levin and Amir, and they were like, "Yeah, we like it, and we just want to add to it and like finish it up and record it." I feel like in terms of like our songwriting, usually it's very like drawn out or it's extremely concise. So like on this one,
that's probably a good point. Is it's either takes us no time at all to make something, or it takes us 2 years.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, it took us a couple weeks. Like it's usually like immediate or not.
All right. I know we already kind of went over your origin story, but I really did want to ask the name Nautics. Where did it come from?
Just again arguing. It was kind of like we had a group chat and we had a ton of ideas, and that was the only one that we didn't all hate.
Wow.
So
I think Nautics is cool. It's not the Nautics, right? It's just Nautics.
It's just initially it was the Nautics, but there's another band from Oregon that doesn't exist anymore that was called the Nautics. So to make people less, so to get, and they had like the shittiest. I mean, I don't want to.
No, that's so rude.
I don't want to. No. But like it was like it was like wedding. It was like wedding band music.
Oh no, bro, they're good. Black Lives.
I actually really enjoy the other.
Right, sorry, well they don't exist anymore. It's
I
fine.
mean, the people still exist. Their feelings still exist.
All right. Well, I don't think they're gonna listen to us or know who we are.
I don't know.
so.
Maybe they're one day they're like, oh, let's Google the Nautics.
Oh, I see.
All
All right. Well, let's scratch that off the record. I think they're brilliant, and they're and frankly, we should play with them sometime. That'd actually be really cool if we could play with every band with our name, which I'm sure.
We would go out to Oregon for that.
That'd be fun. What was the question? Oh yeah, the Nautics. Oh yeah, so we changed it.
It's the origin story, Kenzo.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's what is happening.
I wish it was more interesting. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we had a group chat with like a bunch of bad names.
Yeah, Van wanted to change the name a million times. Like he keeps wanting to change it.
No, I don't. I think we should keep it. I didn't like it at first. I was very anti it at first. If I was a bad name.
All right.
Well, okay, I can say that like I think there's like 2 songs on our first EP that were originally band names that we considered. Like I think Boxcar Chaser was the name that we had, and then we were just like, no, Nautics. I can't even remember.
I think our name was like Sons of Orion or something.
Yeah, it was like there was one called like the Squid and the Whale or the Sharkfish.
This was so like 2015. I can't even remember.
It was like 2014, right?
All those names are bad.
Yeah,
bro, they were like. You know, sometimes you just strike gold, luckily.
Good job.
Sometimes you end up with Nautics.
Yeah.
I
Nautics is
remember,
nice.
no, us coming up with the name of our podcast, I think, was a very surprisingly simple process because we were just kind of. I was laying on the ground. Marcello was like laying on like a beanbag chair. And we're like, yo, what are we gonna call this podcast? We did like 2 names, and I'm like, yo, how about a Low High podcast? He's like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's how we picked our name.
You guys are only 2 of you, and you're probably reasonable. There's 4 of us, and we're ridiculous.
Yeah, not even 4 of us, but like 4 of us when we were 15.
Yeah.
You started this band when you were 15? I did not know that.
Well,
no.
we were. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was.
No, we were 15.
We were 15. It was 2015. No, it was 2015. We could have been 16, 17.
I was probably 17.
No, if we released music in 2015, then it was before 2015.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so yeah,
We had to conceptualize the idea.
I think I just turned 17 because I'm a year older.
No, you might have just turned like 16.
Yeah,
I
you
was
just
definitely
turned
like
16.
14, 15 because I'm the youngest.
Was it? I don't
So-
even know. But yeah,
I
probably
remember
not.
turning 16.
All right, this is riveting. conversation,
I
guys.
remember turning 16.
No, I like being with you guys.
What a good
Oh, well, yeah, 'cause-
podcast point.
Yeah.
Well, Amir also came into the band later, so that was
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, don't you forget it, Amir.
So this has been a really that's a lot deeper than I thought it was. I thought, because all right, so you guys have known each other for a while. You've been working at this for a while.
Yeah, we've been together.
Been a
We're
long
like
time.
about 5 years old or whatever.
Wow.
5 years old.
Yeah.
It's like because December. Yeah, kind of something like
Yeah.
that.
About pretty much like January we started, I think. So
So
we're
you
about
guys-
we're about to be 5.
Damn,
Aw,
that's a long time.
congratulations. Should we get a
Yeah.
birthday? cake?
Congratulations.
Yeah,
You-
honestly.
Y'all get a birthday cake.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw like a more blunt question at you. What do you think of you ever meet that person who just doesn't listen to music or they hate music? What do you think of them?
Us.
Like as a person.
I mean, I could say that about myself. Like Van definitely sends most of the music that we all listen to like in the chat, and I'm one of those people that like doesn't really like. I listen to like
Billie
the
Eilish and
different
Ariana
music,
Grande.
I guess.
You listen to
And
music, love it. You listen to
Yeah.
it.
No, I would say yeah. I mean, I don't listen to no music. I listen to like some music,
I
not a
listen
lot.
to
A lot.
I feel like I feel like Marcelo meant like music that's like someone who like just legitimately you go about your day and you just don't listen to any music. Like you wake
Yeah.
up and you're
There are
like,
people like that. I don't understand, but
Dude, see,
I've
'cause
never met anyone.
I'm actually because I take it a lot more personally than you guys do, even as musicians. Like I hate people who don't listen to music. I think they're soulless.
Like,
Well, I
people
think-
who don't listen to music are like people who don't season their food. Like,
That's
yeah,
what
they're
I'm
still,
saying.
they're still like they're alive, but are they really living?
Well, you're basically talking to 4 white boys. So I don't know how much seasoning.
Okay, just before we go, anything else, y'all season your food.
Yeah.
Y'all are suffering,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Like just look up some recipes on Google. Like literally, put some cayenne in
Yeah.
your food.
I mean,
That's
I'm Japanese,
I-
so at least I have like something.
Oh,
Wait, that doesn't matter whether you season your food or not, Enzo.
That actually does. There's like spices and shit. in my
Yeah, but you have to use spices. It's
and
not
then
your
I
culture
have
using
that
it. It's you.
Italiano kind of.
yeah, I feel like Italiano is more
Yeah.
famous for their seasoning.
Yeah. Well, we're famous for our
Pasta.
I'm doing a hand gesture right now, but
Oh.
you can't see it because it's an audio.
I'm not going there.
So, yeah, please. What were we talking about? Seasoning?
We're
Oh,
talking
Oh,
about
people
music,
who don't like music.
Audio
Um,
seasoning.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, for people who don't like, audio seasoning in their life, I think like ultimately, I probably would have been offended like early on in our, I'm putting quotation marks around career, but I think ultimately, as someone who likes multiple forms of art, I kind of can understand that like some people resonate with, some people don't really care about like film or cinema, or they don't really understand the concept of cinematography, and that's totally fine. It's just something that they're not interested in, and I talk to people who are work, and I'm sure Amir can resonate with this, people who work in a lab and do really interesting stuff with science, and some people who are like, I don't fucking care about science.
Mhm.
And you're like, how do you not care? It's literally all around you. And it's kind of like that, where it's like some brains just aren't I don't want to say equipped because that sounds
Well, there's people who are actually tone deaf as well.
yeah, like there's people whose brains literally cannot comprehend.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the majority of people. I think there are just
Yeah.
some people who maybe weren't exposed to it when they were a kid, or don't make it a part of their lives as much.
Well, it's
Yep.
media literacy as well. It's like
Yeah.
we as a collective society decide like how we understand and read media. And I guess if you grew up I don't know, but music feels different because I feel like every culture is a type of singing, so it's not even like.
No, it's true.
Oh,
I actually
for
don't know
sure.
too many people who don't make music at least some part of their lives.
And I think with the advent of things like streaming and things like SoundCloud where you can upload whatever, and just like all types of music being accessible now, I think I personally find far fewer people who.
Well,
I mean,
recorded music as a concept is only 100 years old. What?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm even saying like look at like the fucking my Spotify wrapped up playlist, whatever. Like look how many people are obsessed with that kind of shit, and like I don't know, maybe we're in a bubble because we are surrounded by people who like music, and we don't interact with those people who are like I don't really listen or care about music, but I think there is more music literacy in culture now, and I think we'll take as much as we can get, kind of thing. We're less like I'm personally less like mad about it, and more just like okay, like they'll probably hear something eventually,
catch up eventually. And I'm sorry, just to bring it back, Van, you said something about music as a concept is relatively new, like 100 years old.
yeah,
recorded
music.
recorded music.
Recorded. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I
recorded
thought.
music. No, record. Yeah, I mean, recorded music is like 100 years old because when was the?
Yeah, it's about right.
Yeah, 100 years old, maybe 1880 or something, which along with a lot of art forms we appreciate. But like, it's just interesting because before that, how we consumed music was completely different, and so there's a argument about like the sociology of music and like how as like a market, it's only like 100 years old and it's still changing this rapidly. I don't know what my point was.
So are you guys like, in terms of the sociological argument, are you talking about like I'd rather just listen to their recorded tracks on my own time, or like versus the concert idea, or like the idea of live music versus recorded music?
Yeah.
oh sorry
Oh no, if you want to go, Kenzo, don't worry.
no, because you might have a different point than I do, because I think I come at it from, because I also have my background in theater, and a lot of the reason I got into music was the performance aspect of that. So I think I totally admit there's a ton of ego and selfishness to the idea of performing and being like, oh, look at me, and like I'm performing and I'm singing and this is my day. But I think there's also, as a person who's also been on the other side as an audience member and seeing shows, I think there's an energy and an electricity to a sort of unified experience. And like seeing, even if you like see theater on in an audience versus a recording on HBO or a Disney Plus special or whatever they have now, it's a completely different experience. And I think you can appreciate the artistry of one thing and listen to the music and listen and have that experience, and it's very personal. But I think the sort of collective being in a room with people, there's something, as humans, I think we do kind of feel an energy of people around us, even if we aren't fully aware of the people around us. You can just feel the hearts beating around you, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
No, I understand what you're saying.
That's really insightful. So a question about like your songwriting process, your song lyrics. I feel like we're reaching a point where music is a lot less about lyrics and a lot more about vibes. Because if you listen to a lot of these popular musicians, like, okay, Juice WRLD was an incredible musician, R.I.P. But I was listening to his song Bandit the other day, and he says this line. I don't know if it's acceptable for me to say this on the podcast, but I'm black. So he says, Tommy hit a nigga, Tommy Hilfiger, fuck niggers. And I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, what do you mean? What does that mean?
Well, maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the experience that he wanted you to have.
No, but I agree. I think there is a trend towards like a vibe. And I think that's what it was before, right? Like classical music, there are no words. I think music is really good at like making us feel general emotions, and words make it particular. And so I think we're going back to the general. I'm excited. I've always thought that the music is superior to the lyrics. No offense, Kenzo.
Classical music is all vibes. Amir 2020.
It is. That's what it really is.
I have a tight beat YouTube, so I'm on your side as well.
Dude, music is. I feel like it definitely expresses the things that we can't put into words sometimes. Like it. I don't know. Like I sometimes on albums they'll put those instrumental tracks out and they're great. Like I fall way more to those in terms of just listening to them over and over again.
The Cherry Bomb instrumental album, Tyler the Creator, and it's that album is the instrumentals. I wasn't a big fan of the original Cherry Bomb album, but then you listen to the instrumentals and you're like, wow, this is like incredibly written stuff, and like he really like, yeah. If anyone gets a chance on Spotify, it's definitely worth like the hour or something that it is to listen to it.
Dude, I'll check that out.
I think that like in terms of lyrics, that they can add a sort of density to music that I think is good, and things, and like a lot of things like rap and hip hop, and like just the idea of like a beat being really good and cool, and like the song being really, and it's also a little bit more vague now because I think a lot of pop musicians just kind of add on a feature just because they can, or because it will boost their, it'll just boost the song's popularity or whatever, or collaboration. But like back if there's a song where it's like a beat and someone rapping over that and there's sort of a poetry to that,
for sure,
I think that still exists, and I think that still definitely exists on the sort of more underground kind of scene.
Dude,
It's still pretty mainstream.
Well, no, it's mainstream, but it's not as mainstream as like, I don't know. I don't have.
I mean, J. Cole is probably the most famous rapper in the world, so like.
Okay, yeah. No, that's totally fair. I'm more I'm thinking more on both ends, like even in terms of indie music, like not even rap, just like lyrically, there's like a lot of attention, and I think there's sort of this idea of it keeps you coming back to it because you don't catch it in the first go. And music's very linear, where you can't be like pausing every 10 seconds. So you experience, it's like a movie where you experience everything new because it's so dense. Does that make sense? Am I just talking out of
no, I understand. I mean, I agree with you. Like, I think there's the music itself, right, which is this incredible, like this, it tells its own story, and then you have the lyrics, right, which is literally its own verbal story, and like they come together and they just do this insane thing when done right.
And that can be adding to the sort of vibe thing that Amir was talking about too, is like it does create a vibe, and you can create it as its own sort of instrument and its own, I mean, it literally is its own melody most of the time, but its own rhythm and its own sort of flow, and it doesn't have to be as literal as like I went to the mall and I ate chicken and then I went back home and then I slept and like all this stuff, and it can be more like these weird intertwining verbal vocabulary diarrhea that becomes something beautiful because it intermingles with the music, and it creates this emotional euphoria that the person can experience because they're ultimately being like, oh, I'm listening to a human being on the other side of this. And it doesn't always matter if it grammatically makes sense, and it's more about the, like Amir said, the vibes.
And then sometimes, right, there's music that's like, the music itself kind of blows, but the lyrics are so like I just recently found this song called like Rat by Penelope Scott, and it sucks, but like she basically tells like
fuck you, Penelope.
Yeah, no, but like I fuck with her, right, because she tells the entire world off basically in this song, and I love that very much. So like, it's in the playlist.
But I skip it every time.
Now, dude, I listen to it. I'm like angsty or something, I'll listen to it. One weird concept that my uncle, he's like an artist, like visual artist. He paints and draws. And he
cool.
knows everything about every museum in New York City, loves it. And he was telling me about these two guys, so like Gilbert and George were just these really influential artists apparently. And why they were famous was basically because they made this statement that like, we proclaimed ourselves as artists, so everything we do is art, right? Yeah. And they were talking about, so like, they kind of just went deep into it, how, for example, if you're a photographer, you know, like if you're just taking a walk in the park, maybe you're just looking, it's like, all right, you're walking in the park. But if you're a photographer and you're looking at this park through like a photographer's perspective, there's so many beautiful shots and images that are just like kind of waiting to be captured. And so I was wondering if that's kind of the same thing with like music, right? Since you guys are musicians and like I'm so musically untalented, like I'm total opposite direction. Do you guys hear things like a bird chirping and you're like, oh, like there's something there? Or
let me sample that.
yeah, is it like that, or am I just like totally missing everything they were talking about?
I might be worse at answering. I feel like I'm more of a visual artist.
Right on.
So I think I resonate with the seeing things more than hearing things. So I don't know. But you guys might have some.
I mean, I would never use anything in a song, but sometimes I'll be like walking around outside and I'll hear something. I'll be like, oh, that could be cool in a song. Or like I'll come up with something while walking around out of the blue, but that's totally not the question. Like me answering the question, I guess.
No, yeah,
it's more like it's more. Yeah, I was flatlining for a second, letting Kenzo speak. So now it's my turn. No, I would say that like I do hear like sounds and stuff, but I'm not like, I know Phineas, Billie Eilish's older brother, like went to Australia and recorded the stoplight ticking, and then that was in one of her songs. Like I would never do that, but I could hear things like that.
Yeah, but stuff like that feels kind of like, I don't know, like, yeah, that can have some personal meaning to you, and like it can color the way you listen to the song. But stuff like that, I feel like it's kind of gimmicky if you're doing that all the time. You know, like, oh, I sampled this on my walk. It's like, well, you could have, you know, there's no reason for you to have done that. I don't know. I think personally,
it adds life to sound though. Music, like,
no, I get it. I understand, but like
the universe has a swing to it that we inherently don't have.
If you're walking around with somebody, it's like, wait, let me just sample this really quick. It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah, but you never had like a moment to yourself where like you kind of sit around and just like sample things that are like in your room and then try and make something out of it?
Sure, but as like an exercise in producing something, you know,
yeah,
I don't know if it adds artistic merit. I don't know.
I don't know about you guys, but I can like, do you guys have I don't know. It's not synesthesia. It's like the auditory thing where you can just like you can like literally be in a silent room and hear music in your head. You could like play a song in your head. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you guys have that?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, no, some people don't. Some people can't even see images in their head. Like
oh yeah, I found out about that really recently. That's so crazy.
Yeah, no, some people don't have an internal monologue.
Yeah, that's
some
the
people, people's brains work totally and then people who like don't have that. Well, it's like a blind person, you know, not knowing they can't see because they don't know anyone else can.
I'm not good at making up music in my head. I have to sing it, but like, you know.
Well, yeah, I would say that like I think in terms of coming up with music, like usually I'm like humming something and then something pops, but you kind of gotta let it flow, or you gotta. I mean, I think we're all people who like to play our instruments when we're just.
I mean, nobody here. None of us have perfect pitch. I don't think.
No, I probably have alright relative pitch, but I also don't know enough about music to care.
Having perfect pitch is like, because my roommate freshman year, like he had perfect pitch, and I feel like that ruins so much music for you. But then also, like you can make a perfectly pitched song or whatever, but like most of the general public's just not gonna appreciate. Like we're not gonna know.
Well, we actually prefer things that are a little out of tune. That's why like
that's why I sound like shit whenever I sing.
Well, no, but like detuning and like dumping stuff down makes music popular. Like the lo-fi hip-hop trend that was so big like 2 years ago, that was like just like records that are slightly slow or slightly fast, so it sounds a little detuned.
I also think the trick is to like not to. Are you?
No, Kenzo, please. It's radio.
I think it's already live FM. I think like the idea is overall. Do you guys know like I get whatever like the basics of just like color theory, and that in a painting there is color theory, and you have to like follow certain guidelines to get certain.
Now imagine if they made that for music.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying is like I think there's an idea of like the goal is actually to get really comfortable with that, so that you can break those rules ultimately and do it in a decisive way, and kind of use those things in your toolbox when you want to, and go against the not to quote High School Musical, but to go against the status quo of what's sort of.
You pitch music theory to me? Did you just pitch like music theory 101 to us?
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I absolutely. But,
color theory is like.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the general listeners who might not, I
think people are aware of the existence of music theory.
Man, this podcast is not for you to listen to. It's for
but I think in grade school you learn do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
No,
right?
but the idea
it's not like you pick up.
Man, but it's about going against those ideas.
Okay, so you think people are more familiar with color theory than music theory?
You think people aren't familiar with color theory?
Fan, to be honest, I thought do, le, whatever the fuck was just the thing I would do.
I'm wrong.
I don't think
color theory is as abstract as music theory, though.
You can know how to speak English, but it doesn't mean you're good at literature.
All right, I'll admit I was wrong, but I also think color theory was wrong. So
okay,
whatever.
Anyway,
color theory wrong? Wait, let's not get into that.
Yeah.
No, color theory is all right, but Kenzo's whatever.
Man just doesn't like when I say something.
You say everything, so what? I don't like anything you say.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, this is the argument we're talking about.
Yep. I was gonna say this is how we work.
And it's mostly Van.
I'm just the combative person.
Van's a very combative person. He's worked on it a lot. He's actually gotten a lot better.
No, it's not a worse, dog. We just don't hang out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
It's been like 9 months since we've hung out.
I think distance has helped us. Just like my father.
Oh,
wow.
Geez.
No,
There's an audience here.
Cut that out of the thing.
I know that's it.
No,
All right, he probably won't listen this far anyway.
45 minutes of
Love you, Dad. I'm so happy about your dog.
now there's more to it. All right.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, but so your sound, your whole band vibe, did you guys model yourselves after any famous bands of the past?
I mean,
or are you really just trying to do your own thing?
I think I used to be one of the Strokes.
Yeah.
But no. I don't know. I think we.
That was good. No, I really appreciated that, Kenzo. So good job. You have me in your corner now.
All right.
Perfect
Well,
monkey.
you guys probably have a better idea. I feel like I kind of just went with the flow of what we were doing, and then it kind of just developed. I don't know. At the start, what do you think? We were kind of influenced by our own things, probably the Strokes and Arctic Monkeys and 2000s-y indie bands, or I guess pop indie bands.
Are you planning to stay indie, or if some record?
No, I mean,
for a lot of money, will you just hop on that shit?
Well, no, we're total sellouts. So no, I think ultimately a lot of the stuff we've been talking about recently is trying to be more poppy, and not in a way of let's be mainstream, but I think we genuinely admire a lot of the production value and the structure to pop music, and I think trying to mimic that or get better at our skill set in terms of that stuff isn't a bad thing, and I think people who are oh, I hate pop music, or I hate this or that, I think I don't want to say they're fundamentally wrong, but
they're
wrong.
but I will. And no, I think there's merit to both, and I think we've definitely grown as a band in different ways, and I think we're always trying to find a new sort of way of approaching music and of being stylistically, and I think we're always trying to challenge each other, whether or not you see that is another thing, but I think we definitely try to challenge each other.
Is it because you all have would you say you guys have a love for music? like a love.
Yeah.
And like you want to.
Yeah.
Do you want this to be your thing? Like, do you want this to be all? You want to be all in on this, or are you guys?
I think
That would be beautiful if we could be. If life worked out that way, where we could just do Nautics for like nautical time forever, like I would be down.
And even if it doesn't work, I know that music is going to be an important part of all of our lives forever. I mean, you know, whether it's in this form or some other form,
Yeah.
we're always going to be with music.
K-pop.
We love
Right up there with K-pop.
That's going to be the next pivot.
and Amir, you guys might be laughing, but I'm not joking. You have no idea. Yeah.
But do you have the legs for it though? Can you do those?
You just watch.
You just watch.
No, the video. We'll have to put it up.
I'm not ready to watch what happens.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Get on board or get out.
Yeah, we do. I think, yeah, like Amir said, I think we all have a love for it, and I think we all, you know, whether or not we like to admit it, love each other in some capacity. And I think ultimately we're gonna keep doing music no matter what, and I think we're gonna probably keep doing music together for as long as we possibly can logistically.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But okay, in a hypothetical scenario.
We love hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, so sorry, lead singer. So hypothetically, if you were offered a fat contract to leave your band behind, would you take it? I'm talking like life-changing amounts of money. I'm talking.
Would it be like?
No.
Okay, now tell the truth.
That was Amir. Well, are you saying? Well, because like we also do stuff like by ourselves too. So like if Levitt got a contract for his own thing, I'm sure he would take it too. Like, do you know what I mean?
You're deflect. Okay, wait. So now we'll push the question to the drum.
No. So then after, like, if I got, I would just do both.
Okay.
I'd just do both. I'd have a solo career and do Nautics. And you know what? The fame from my solo career would help Nautics, and if anything, the boys would be appreciative. Of
we'd be more grateful.
Well,
You'd be like,
now
that
what if
one
Levitt takes off?
and everybody always.
All right.
Absolutely not.
I don't think, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the boys. If I got offered a crap ton of money for doing something bigger and better, whatever, I don't think I would take it.
You don't?
I don't think I would take it because I appreciate.
What if you're given $1 million a year?
Yeah, no, none of that.
Just give us some of the $1 million.
Levitt, we would make you take it.
We would make
I wouldn't take it. I have so much.
That's a lie for the radio.
No, it's not a lie for the
Levitt,
podcast.
then you're out of the band if you don't make it.
All right. Well, then I guess I'm out of the band. But by that point, if I'm out of the band by not taking it, then I'll just take it.
Exactly, and then you're in the band still.
No, then I'll forget about the band. That's the problem.
That's the problem. That's the mean.
That's what I'm saying. Because you're devoted. Once you make all this money, you have to be devoted to like what you do. There's no time for all the side things.
You see what this question has divulged into.
It was for you, Kenzo, and then you couldn't answer it, so then I answered it.
Wow.
So
Name's already getting to you guys.
The hypothetical fame is getting us.
Speaking of the fame getting to you, let's stop pulling your band apart with this question and move on. So
to a worse question.
For sure. So you guys need to tell me the kind of that rock star lifestyle.
Yes.
No.
We know it well.
No.
Please explain it to us or help.
You should see Levitt and Kenzo after a show. It gets wild.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah, I'm asleep at 10 p.m.
All right, whatever you say, Kenzo.
For the radio, guys, come on.
I literally. Oh my god.
I'm sure. I know it must be crazy. You guys, do a show Saturday night, go to bed at 10, wake up, go to church.
We got it to the T right there.
Okay, but seriously, ideally, in another hypothetical scenario, if you guys end up getting super famous and making a ton of money, what kind of asshole rock star stuff would you like to do? You can be honest here.
Lord.
I'd probably like to buy like a big building and like start a school.
How's that an asshole thing to do? How's that rockstar asshole?
For gifted mutants, and then I would be rolling around in an electric wheelchair and trying to read people's minds. And I would shave my head.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't know if you got the memo, but only black people got powers. Bro.
Oh, sorry. That's true. Well, then I would just be a dude running around in a wheelchair in a big mansion.
You can't run around in a wheelchair, Kento.
He's gonna put legs on the bottom of it. And he's just
a wheelchair that just has 4 legs and wheels.
I don't like this anymore. No, I don't know. I mean, what's like an asshole thing to do? Like, just I guess spend it on like
spit on fans. That's what I would.
No,
do.
what?
What are you talking about? That's the asshole thing. You
said, what would you do if he had a ton of money, Levin?
Yeah,
that doesn't take. What are you
can do
talking? Yeah. No, please don't.
You know, some of those people might not wash their foreheads forever if you.
Yeah.
Some people might like it.
I think that's
So
hypothetically, guys, remember it's a hypothetical.
I guess I'm gonna buy. I guess I would just spend it on dumb shit. That would be my asshole thing, like toys
for children.
But I wouldn't. I guess I wouldn't give the toys to children. That would be the asshole thing, I guess, right?
They just have this legion of Nerf guns.
Yeah, like I would buy. Like, it would be like Big, where he just has a bunch of like fucking dumb shit in his house. That would be my asshole thing, I think. I wouldn't share it with anyone. I would keep it all to myself.
Just have this massive legion of toys.
Yeah, like weird crane machines and shit like that.
Sally, what would you do if you what are you gonna do with your rock star fame?
Yeah, besides spit on people.
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't spit on people. That'd be fucking gross.
Yeah, exactly. Love it.
Okay, if I had like a ridiculous amount of money, I'd buy a business I don't like and fire all the people in charge.
Okay, what's worse? What is worse now? Spitting on people or firing people you don't like?
Fine.
No, okay. Another really fun thing I'd like to do, right? Hypothetically, of course.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys, everybody listening to this shouldn't judge me. I probably wouldn't do this in real life. What I'd like to do, right? Get a bunch of Roombas and strap knives to them, and so
I'd have a lobby.
I'd have people who run retail stores, because people who work in retail, they get treated really shitty.
Yeah.
So what I'd do, I'd buy the organization and force the people who are in charge to work in retail, and they've got to serve the shittiest fucking customers while also having these little knife Roombas moving all around, watching their every move.
I feel like you must have worked retail at some point.
Actually, no, I actually haven't. My brother worked at Walmart. He worked at Walmart for a little bit. He told me the stories about how people treat them, and I got a couple friends who work in McDonald's. And I'm like, wow.
I couldn't imagine those jobs, because I worked at a Blick, and it was kind of crazy sometimes. But people just are rude to food people and Walmart employees.
I hate that. Listen. You cannot use a service while simultaneously degrading those who provide the service to you.
And especially the worker, because they're just doing their fucking job. They're just there getting paid nothing to listen to you complain
about, oh no, this isn't the kind of Big Mac I want. This one kind of Big Mac.
It's not big enough. Then go to a different place.
Go to Burger King. Bro, what are you doing here? Nah, man, people suck. I could never work customer service, because I will punch somebody in the face
through the phone,
bro. So I Okay, so I work at a certain job. We're not allowed to disclose the details, but it's a certain job on campus where you work remotely and ask people survey questions.
No.
Oh, I know what that is.
And
Don't
I
say
have,
it. I know.
oh, dude, the last survey I did, it was about coronavirus.
Oh.
And so this is the last person I talked to in that job, and he came in super polite, especially like the last 3 people I've been talking to have just been massive dickheads. So this dude comes in, the call starts super polite, he's like super nice about everything. It's like, oh, good. And we start going through the survey, and with literally every answer he gives, I just become more and more violently angry. I'm like, it's like, bro, I hope I never meet you in real life, because I will have to put you down. You're bad for the world.
How do you get angry in a survey?
No, because literally,
There are many ways, man.
like, bro, the kind of answers people be given to these common sense is really not common. That's just
No,
what
it is not.
oh my god. But like, yeah, so that's what I do with my rockstar money: make the rich feel poor and knife Roombas.
All right. that's
My
pretty good.
Roombas.
Perfect. What would you do, Marcelo?
Well, probably besides. I kind of like Silly's knife Roomba idea. Except I want to use it more like maliciously. I kind of just want to like get like kind of just like let a bunch of them loose in a lobby or something.
Jesus Christ. Wait, but what kind of lobby are we talking about here?
Like a fairly busy lobby. Like, I don't know.
Like an apartment building lobby, or like
Maybe.
a lobby
Alright,
for like
how
a
about-
place?
I'll just put like plastic forks, so no real damage, just a little poke in the ankle, and like that'll be enough to. You imagine that you're just like checking in like at an airport. You're just it's like kind of busy, you know, pre or post COVID, dodging little plastic fork Roombas.
It's just inconvenient, really.
Really inconvenient, yeah, but like clean floors, so.
Wait, okay. I take back the knife Roomba idea. This is what I do. Wait, I still have knife Roombas, right? But I have a drone, right? That just dropped balloons full of like maple syrup, glitter, and skunk smell on people who are just massive dickheads. Like literally, it'd fly over Donald Trump's house at least 3 times a week. Just tag whoever's there.
Do you mean prison?
Oh, dude, I hope he goes to jail so bad.
Mostly because it would be so funny and like apt. Like it would just be such a good.
Even if he does go to jail, he'll probably end up in like a rich people jail. Which is gonna
Yeah, like a nice jail. Like nice fun jail.
Bro, speaking of nice jails like everywhere are nicer than jail in America. I saw.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because we don't have a good prison complex system. Or anything.
Oh, and there's good prison complex systems?
No, but there's
Yes.
there's ones based in
There
reform.
are
Other
some,
than
yeah.
if someone does, there are people who like literally murder people and they are still trying to like reform them.
Yeah, but that's not complex, right? Like,
No, that would be considered a complex. That it's part of it's a building. It's a structure where they have.
yeah, but when you
No, we're talking about the complex in the sense of the system that goes into
Yeah, but that's
No.
part of the system. That's part of the
yeah, but I feel like prison as a system is like, isn't that part of the issue? Like that it's like a system. And
Well, then fine. Then it's we don't call
Or
it.
maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
We call it like reformation
Yeah.
complex. Like it's less about prison and more about changing people for the better.
We don't change. Yeah, I mean, if like I'd be for prison in America if it was actually reform instead we just make it way worse for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, there's some better programs that are coming out, but it's
Yeah.
mostly for younger people and people who have like committed new misdemeanors and things like that. But
Mhm.
ultimately, I think like I'm curious as to what this administration would do.
Nothing.
I'm
Alright,
not,
well,
I'm not super. I want to. How about this on a federal or national level? I'm not very convinced that much will change, but I think in terms of like New York State, I think there's some change on the horizon. That yeah, sorry.
what? I'm just curious, like, what change do you think is on the horizon for New York State? Like,
I think there's a lot of. I think in terms of like, okay, how about this? I think there's going to still be a lot of not disarray within like the actual system of policing, right? I'm not sure that's going to change for the better, but in terms of like prosecution and law, I think there will be some potentially positive change. Like
in New York State, specifically.
in New York State, I guess from what I've like, mostly from talking to like my own groups that I'm part of.
I think oftentimes we get mistaken about like where New York State sits politically, because we are a very center left state. I feel like.
Well, I'm saying I'm saying
not
that,
sure.
I'm not saying that the field is completely green. I'm saying that it's better. It's a slow improvement towards less criminalization and more reform prosecution. Of course, there's a huge problem with policing, and honestly, under this administration, I don't think it will change. Unfortunately. You can hope, but I don't.
Are we talking about New York or like the country of the American country?
Well, I guess both, but just in terms of New York, I think people are like, oh, cops are gonna get fixed or whatever, like, but that's not. I don't think that's gonna be the case, unfortunately.
I'm not really allowed to talk about this because of work, so
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't want to get too political, and I
It's
don't.
all right. You guys can just speak to the people through your music.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stay quiet on this.
God save the Queen! The fascist regime.
All right, we just want to thank you guys so much for joining us here on this podcast.
Oh, is that our last?
Can we end on something else?
Yeah. Can we end it on something else? I don't want to have any.
See, I'd want the podcast to be longer, but our listeners have pretty short attention spans.
So do we, frankly. That's why we talk about this shit. Do you have any closing arguments?
Any closing remarks you guys would like to make?
Yeah, let us know what you got going on, like your future projects, albums, anything you want to let the people know.
Yeah, so we got a song coming out January 15th. Make sure to pre-save that on Spotify. It's called Don't Want to Be Like This. We also have a show coming up in February, and by show I mean virtual show.
And January.
We're trying to specify the details, but we got some stuff. Check out our Instagram at official__Nautics to find out more, and we'll keep updating stuff. And we're gonna. Oh, sorry.
No, my bad. I was literally gonna say we're gonna link all their stuff in the description and on our Instagram.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, okay. One more thing, I guess, before we leave.
Yeah.
I know we just came from doing one, but there's a possible merch giveaway for when the song comes out. So
yes,
that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, some t-shirts.
All right. Thank you to Nautics, and thank you all for listening to us at the Low High Podcast. And we just want to remind you, in this new year, if you're feeling high, if you're feeling low, you've always got a place to go. Thank you for listening.
I'm better at this than you.